Blessed to be with you. Kevin Miller in the morning, KIDO Talk Radio. Phone numbers 580-5436, 580-KIDO. Want to remind you, coming up on Friday, we're going to be at Independence Indoor Shooting for free. That's right. We'll be there from 5 to 9, having a good time, broadcasting the live rounds being fired on your Second Amendment show. And in addition to that, Girls with Guns 2019. And if you're a Garth Brooks fans, thanks to the folks at the Broadcast Center, we'll have a couple tickets for you to win to see Garth Brooks for free. That is the good news. And we're very excited about that. A lot going on here this morning. Let me just briefly give you some of the top headlines. We've got Governor Cuomo signs a bill allowing the release of the president's New York tax returns to Congress. We also have Eric Swalwell. You know who he is? He's a congressman from California. Yeah, Congressman Swalwell has dropped out of the race. The first Democrat, to drop out of the race. And my apologies to my wife, Mrs. Miller. Sorry, dear, you're not eligible to win the Garth Brooks tickets, but we do appreciate you listening this morning, as we appreciate everybody listening. You know, there's an issue that I'd love to share with you. And if this were a show like Glenn's or Sean's or Lars later in the day, I have to admit it would be a lot easier of a show to do. You either fake the anger, but for me and for you, the anger isn't fake. It's real. It's legitimate because we love America. We don't think that there's anything wrong with America, and we want to preserve America. And we have this countercultural narrative that continues to permeate throughout the country, where you have, how should we put this, American-hating athletes being elevated on the international stage for their victories and getting a pass on indefensible, inexcusable behavior. It must be a great challenge today, and I suppose it's a great challenge every day to be a parent, to be a good parent, to be a parent that everybody can be proud of, right? When you're taking a look at just the overwhelming influences negatively that can impact you and your kids and everything else. So we have the American women's soccer team, right? They're supposed to be the best ever. They're the greatest. They're mad because they're not making the same amount of money as the men. Now, you can be like everyone else and go, well, what do you think? Should they get equal pay? Well, they don't draw the same amount of people as the men. It's as simple as that. Life is not fair. You take a look at your workplace. I take a look at my workplace. Are you the highest paid person there? Probably not. Are you the hardest working person? I would say yes. It doesn't matter. It's just how it is. In life, things aren't fair. So here we have the women claiming that they're being mistreated because they're not making as much as the men, number one. Number two, you have the women on the soccer team talking about how bad President Trump is and that they would not go to the White House. Now, for most of us, going to the White House is an honor. And let me just say, some of the great moments in my life have been going to the White House. You know, our goal, and we continue to repeat this at 580-5436, 580-KIDO, is to bring President Trump here to the Treasure Valley. And when we talk about values and shared values, this is why this program is important, because we're out there. We're out there on a limb saying, President Trump, please come to Idaho. President Trump, please come and make a difference. Nobody else is doing that. And, it would be easy to run an offense like that. And perhaps one day this program will be replaced with a syndicated version of it that's not offensive, that doesn't cause people to think, and we'll have lost a great resource. Sadly, that's what happens these days. Okay, that's why I'm always fighting to justify our existence and to make sure that we have a place where we can speak and we can talk. By the way, you don't hear anybody else in media speak as honestly and openly as I do, and I appreciate the people at the Broadcast Center allowing me to do this. So this is where it gets interesting at 580-5436, 580-KIDO. We have Megan Rapinoe. Who she is, I don't know, but the media Pravda propaganda arm of the politically correct want us to think that she's something special. Well, Megan Rapinoe says, I ain't going to the blanket White House. And then you have the inappropriate behavior of the female athletes after they win, acting like a bunch of hooligans. They should be embarrassed. I can't believe that their parents would be proud of them. And then we have the taunting of the English. And if American men did this, well, they would be ridiculed. But the women, they get a pass because they're victims, because they don't make as much money as the men. So from Cheryl Chumley of the Washington Times, and Max, we're going to get to your call in a minute. Her headline is Soccer Blanks. Now, it's the S word. I don't really feel like saying it, so we'll just say soccer stinks. The American women's soccer team just won its second World Cup after defeating the Netherlands over the weekend, after which midfielder Allie Long dropped the U.S. flag on the ground to do a little dance with seriously Trump-hating teammate Megan Rapinoe. Now, those of you, like our friend Max the Marine, that have served in the military, that honor the military, that honor America, that is the biggest, gravest no-no that you can do, dropping the American flag and dancing on it. And after that, a group of American soccer fans in France gathered in a sports bar and kicked off a loud, raucous, and obnoxious F Trump chant. Well, you know what? Soccer stinks anyway. America's real sports are in order: baseball, football, hockey, and basketball. Soccer is what little kids play when they're first learning how to run and tie shoes. It's an all-inclusive sport that even those without athletic ability can play. Seriously, who can't kick or at least stand on the field and shift a bit when the ball bounces by? Soccer is a liberal sport. It's a mom sport. Let's not keep score, pass out the participation trophies type of sport. It's a Saturday morning social hour that gets the children off the couch, away from the video games, into the fresh air, and helps snack makers and juicers of America sell their big multi-pack box items that would otherwise lag on grocery store shelves. It's the precursor to the adult world's bowling with beer. Yet, it's globally popular. It's admittedly the most popular sport in the world, and still, and I insert my own word here because we're a family values program, stinks. There are places where the game carries a special mystique. From the grapevine.com wrote, they think Brazil, Argentina, England, Germany, Spain, Italy, and France. Leave it there then, along with Rapinoe. Along with Rapinoe, the U.S. women's team captain, who said earlier this summer that she's not going to the blanking White House, which leads to somewhat obvious question. Why play for the U.S. women's soccer team if you can't properly represent the United States of America? Soccer stinks anyway. Cheryl Chumley from the Washington Times. And now you have the Democrats going, hey, everybody, you can come visit the Senate. Hey, there's Chuck Schumer's office. There's good old good-looking Chuck. Hi, everybody. I'm Chuck Schumer. Welcome to the Senate. We're going to honor you. Max in Garden City, good morning. You're on KIDO Talk Radio.
That is one of the best rants I've ever heard you give, buddy.
Well, thank you. I was reading from the Washington Times, Cheryl Chumley's great piece this morning.
No, this Rapinoe, I mean, I'm sorry, why are we listening to the captain of a girls' soccer team? They're inconsequential. They're playing to half-empty stadiums. Who really cares what she, or in Kaepernick's case, some washed-up, sixth-string former quarterback? What do we care about what they have to say? Because the media would They'd quote a drunk on the street. They'd quote a bum under the overpass. They just need somebody to write about. Rapinoe's nothing. She may think she's something.
Well, the audacity of her, and as we said yesterday, hey, what if somebody had said that about Obama when they were in the White House? And then you have the former First Lady saying, I was uncomfortable because there are too many white people at the White House.
You've got to remember, okay, Obama's administration was about nothing but racial division. An all-black White House, as many whites as he could throw out, he did. The guy's a punk. He's a liar. He's a bigot. Well, this Rapinoe, it's just too much hubris, too much self-importance. She thinks she's a queen because everybody's kissing her hip. And what is she doing? Like you said, she's playing a child sport, bouncing a ball around. You put her team up against a men's soccer team and see how they do. Soccer is still, in the U.S., an inconsequential pastime. It's not really a sport. I agree with you.
Well, I can't believe, and Max is someone who served, what do you make of these people dropping the American flag to celebrate and do their little victory dance?
6 years in the United States Marine Corps tells me I just want to slap her into the next dimension. Nobody honors, nobody has the knowledge of the flag like a United States Marine. That is the center and core of our service. Here in my neighborhood, I take it down at night. I put it up in the morning. I don't leave it up in the bad weather. We know what flag etiquette is. This little pig, this little girlie is out there. She has never been taught any etiquette of any kind. She has no gratitude of any kind. She's had life served to her on a silver platter. She is her own. She's a legend in her own mind.
Well, she's underpaid, too.
I don't know. If she's paid anything, she's overpaid. Women's soccer? Come on. It's like women's basketball. You can only get the workers to show up. You put it on TV, and it's being beaten by reruns of I Love Lucy.
Thank you, Max.
All right, take care.
Jim in Middleton, good morning. You're on KIDO Talk Radio. Hello, Jim.
Good morning, Kevin. Well, you're pretty fired up this morning.
Well, Jim, as somebody who's been doing it, hopefully we'll make it till our 10th anniversary here next month, and for doing this for 25 years next year, culturally, local talk show hosts, national talk show hosts would talk about this issue and defend it. No one wants to do that now for obvious reasons because, well, you're a misogynist, you're this, that. Okay, so we're misogynists if we say you're a class act for dropping the American flag and dancing on it, for saying these things about the president. Nobody wants to touch these topics anymore, and here we go. We go with it.
Well, Kevin, let me tell you this. If my insides can talk, they'd come up with a new definition of shame, embarrassment, and disgust. Okay? So words can't describe what these ladies are doing. But, Kevin, it looks like socialism has permeated professional sports, and these ladies are proving that. They're behaving very unprofessionally, and the only reason they're not making the money is because, like you said, they're not making the draw. Any artist or professional player that brings the crowd in is going to make money. We've seen it in Hollywood, singers, songwriters, and so forth. They're good if they get paid or if they get the draw. Anyway, Kevin, it's an embarrassment, and it's disgusting to see that. And the one gal, like you said, that was in the military to do this, it's just a shame to see people act like this. And part of the reason, Kevin, it's socialism, it's liberalism, and it's the fact that people have it too easy today, so easy that they get so much help from others, and they resent the fact that they can't achieve things on their own. This is an inner psychological problem with a lot of liberals. That's why they don't like traditional America, conservative America, as a whole, because even the simplest conservative people, even in Idaho, is, as you know, it's not a very wealthy state, but the people here are independent and they're self-reliant, and they don't run to the government for every problem or for a solution. They take care of it themselves, and that is deeply resented in the socialist liberal circles.
Jim, thank you for the call.
Kevin, you have a great day, sir.
Always,
and I'll talk with you later.
Always a pleasure, sir. Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Our great friend Jim from Middleton. So getting back to this issue, here we have the U.S.-hating U.S. women's national team that everybody else, every media outlet, and, somewhere some of my former bosses are going, Kevin Miller, do you ever learn not to touch these issues? Jeff the Suit will get the calls. Jeff the Suit's boss will get the calls. Jeff the Suit's boss's boss will get the calls because people are uncomfortable with learning the truth. And the truth is, I don't know, I was brought up by my family, by this business, to say things that you feel. And I feel that this whole U.S. women's soccer team and the pass they get on their inappropriate behavior is something that men, women, children, families in this country, in their closeted communities, in their homes, are going, this isn't right. And the praise that these women are getting, their inappropriate behavior when they win, behaving like, well, people that haven't been there before, the politicalization of sports, we're not going to the White House, the Democrats inviting them to the Senate and dropping the flag, regardless of your political background, Republican, Democrat, that's inexcusable drop. Well, because the flag doesn't mean anything to them. So getting back to this piece in the Washington Times, then why play for the country? If the country is so bad, if you're underpaid, then why do this? We're breaking the glass ceiling. What glass ceiling? Coming up next, Pete from Mountain Home and much, much more. Kevin Miller, KIDO Talk Radio.
All I said was a statement of fact. Four of them opposed the bill. We were protecting the children. Overwhelmingly, our caucus voted to protect the children. Our blue dogs, our moderates, and all the rest voted to protect the children. They did not, and they did not have a further following.
There we have it. Nancy Pelosi going after AOC. We'll talk a little bit about that. Good morning. Blessed to be with you. Kevin Miller in the morning. Shouldn't teams that represent America represent America? Traffic and weather together. KIDO Talk Radio, 107.5 FM, 580 AM. Good morning, Dave.
This is about keeping, make America, this hat, make America white again. They want to make sure that certain people are counted.
Yes, they're called citizens. Kevin Miller with Pete from Mountain Home, KIDO Talk Radio. Pete, thanks for your patience.
Kevin, I just want to say, in some ways, I'm really glad the women's soccer team was acting like that because they are a perfect representative of what the Democrat Party is, of what the people that don't like Trump are, of the liberals, the leftists in this country. They're brats. They're spoiled brats. They're rotten, stinky little, just snotty, overimpressed with their own importance. And, basically they're little kids kicking balls around. That it's like, okay, big deal. But they are showing who the Democrat Party is, and I appreciate that from them.
Right, but you would think, and this is what almost ruined ESPN, and they're still delving back into it. Look, I don't really care what your political views are. Kick the ball in the net. Put the ball in the hoops. You're getting paid a lot of money that none of the little people will ever comprehend. So, as Laura Ingraham would say, shut up and play.
Yeah, it's a stupid game. And to use it for a political platform and acting like little brats, and that's, like you said, these are people that get participation awards as they go through life, and they start thinking they're really wonderful, and anybody actually cares about what they think. Seriously, I think that maybe we ought to have an executive order that says they can no longer use the word USA when they call themselves a soccer team.
Well, and you'll have people hailing them as heroes, as trailblazers, and for what?
Yeah, for
mean, dropping the American flag, that's
Yeah,
class
and for
act.
playing a kid's game.
Yeah, class act. Class act, ladies. You're, here's the deal. Does anybody consider them role models?
Well, I guess the Democrats do. The media apparently thinks they're wonderful.
Sure.
That's if you hate Trump, you can act like anything you want. Apparently, it's okay. I don't know. I'm sorry. Hey, at least it's getting the blood going this morning, Kevin. I appreciate that.
That's what we're trying to do, Pete. God bless.
God bless you.
Thank you, Pete. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Coming up next, back to Nancy Pelosi. And, we could do this in asking it in the form of a question, but, where's the responsible Democrat to at least censure her on this comment?
This is about keeping, make America, his hat, make America white again. They want to make sure that certain people are counted.
Right. They're called citizens. And it's in the Constitution, Nancy. You should read it and follow it and respect it. Kevin Miller, KIDO Talk Radio, 107.5 FM, 580 AM. Good morning, Maggie. Coming up, Jerry, Liberty Linda, pro-life. First, Fox News Radio's Eben Brown on KIDO Talk Radio. Eben, good morning.
Good morning.
To most Americans, no one had ever heard of Jeffrey Epstein, but he's making news all over, and it's very disturbing what the feds and the Southern District of New York have uncovered.
Well, I would say that people didn't know his name much widely before 2008. That's when his first legal troubles began, and this hedge fund guru, this sort of golden child of the finance elite world, all of a sudden became a pretty well-known name because he was accused of using his vast wealth to procure underage girls from around the world to have sex with. And not only that, that his sphere of influence included a lot of the world's political elite. And his case at the time was dropped by the federal prosecutors in South Florida, according to some instances or some accounts that they felt that they couldn't win the case, that his lawyers could potentially, he's one of the few people with his vast wealth, could potentially outspend the federal government. And really do damage to the stories of the accusers, and that they could lose the case altogether. So by going to putting forth a non-prosecution agreement, which would remain sealed, and having him agree to plead guilty to some lesser state charges, which would put him on the sex offender registry, was how it was dealt with at the time. Since then, a number of victims' rights advocates and attorneys for the accusers have pressed the courts to release the seal on that original case, which has been done in the past week. And that's when a new set of federal prosecutors, this time from New York, decided to press charges. The original non-prosecution agreement from Florida only encompassed the Southern District of Florida. That's why the New York federal prosecutors can legally go after him.
Right. We've had people in Congress comment on this case as well. Some saying a member of the cabinet should step down because he represented Mr. Epstein in this Florida case.
No, he did not represent Mr. Epstein. You're talking about Alex Acosta, who is currently the U.S. Secretary of Labor. He was the U.S. Attorney in South Florida at the time overseeing the case and the one who agreed to and initiated the non-prosecution agreement.
Right. So there's been calls on him to step down, correct?
There have been, especially from political opponents of the Trump administration, saying that this was a failure of justice, that they failed to adequately fight for victims. I'm not so sure if that's the most truest of characterizations. As a prosecutor, you only go after cases that you can have a reasonable chance of winning for a couple of reasons. One, it's unjust otherwise. Two, if you go to trial and you lose, jeopardy is attached and you can never have another shot at this defendant ever again. By doing what they did, as unpopular as it was, allowed for a stronger case to come, perhaps, 11 years later. It may be much more difficult for him to evade prosecution now, meaning Epstein, now, than it was in 2008, and therefore perhaps it's delayed justice, but ultimately maybe it's not denied justice. We won't know until court proceedings play out.
And Eben Brown, once again, showing his legal reporting chops, making sense of my nonsense. I always appreciate you, brother.
You got it. Take care.
Eben just doesn't laugh, does he? All right, Kevin Miller in the morning, KIDO Talk Radio. Although, you remember the time when we called, what was it, Jared Halpern, or we called Eben Jared Halpern, and then blah, blah, blah. At least they eventually got the joke. Let's get back to the topic at hand. Sometimes it's way too early for this program. If you're just tuning in, we're talking about these shenanigans, and that's a polite way of putting it, of the U.S. women's soccer team and the inappropriate, offensive comments of the Speaker of the House, where you have Nancy Pelosi saying this comment.
This is about keeping, make America, this hat, make America white again. They want to make sure that certain people are counted.
Your thoughts, your reaction. Liberty Linda joins us now on KIDO Talk Radio. Jerry, hang on. We'll get to you in a minute. Liberty Linda, good morning.
Good morning, Kevin. These girls have no idea what our flag represents. Kevin, the word is represent. It represents all that have given their lives for this country. It represents freedom. I believe the red stripes on the flag represents the stripes that our Savior took for us. Someday, perhaps, Kevin, these girls will understand what they've done, and they will just sit down on the ground and cry because of what they've done, of what our flag actually represents. That's what I believe. I mean, it's hard for us to understand because we honor our flag so much. What President Trump just did in honoring our military also honored our flag.
Well, and that's a great point that hasn't been brought up. All these reporters, local, state, national, that lied to the American public. And let's just call it what it is. They're liars when they say that President Trump's speech was controversial. What's controversial about loving America?
I don't know. That was the most beautiful thing I've ever seen. It honored our country. It honored our men and women who have actually given their lives for this country, for freedom, which our flag represents. Freedom for all that live here. Doesn't matter who you are. It's freedom for those who live in this country, on this country,
right,
on this land. And, like I said, hopefully someday maybe they'll wake up. There's times that I've had to wake up in my life and realize things. Hopefully they'll wake up and understand what our flag represents. And that's what we're talking about this morning. That's what you're talking about.
Right.
And what our president talked about. I've never seen anyone stand as upright as him and salute and honor this country, the military, as much as he did that day. And that's what I love about our president.
Well, we love you, Liberty Linda. Thank you.
Thank you, Kevin, for all you do. Okay, bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Jerry in Nampa with Kevin Miller on KIDO Talk Radio.
Yeah, that's Gary, but I was calling about
Gary. I'm sorry, Gary.
Women soccer players who are saying they should be paid the same as men, and they make the maximum they can make is $99,000. The men can make a maximum of 2.5 times that at $249,000, I believe it is. But in the last 4 years, the women soccer brought in $150 million. And the men's soccer brought in 400 times that at $6 billion. So the claim that, they're an entertainment industry. This is like House of Green Gables saying we should be making as much money as Avengers Endgame, but because we're geared towards girls and Avengers is geared to men, it's sexist that we didn't make as much. So Disney should pay us half of their profits to PBS to make it fair.
Oh, that's a good one. That's a good one.
I mean, it's entertainment. How much revenue did you bring in with your entertainment?
Well, it's not about
to how much.
It's not about that. It's about, being touchy and feely, and the deal.
Yeah.
Facts don't matter. It's all about emotion.
That's what I say. And so chick flicks should, make as much money as, action adventure movies, because there's more women than men. So, it's not fair that they don't make as much money on a chick flick as something geared to men.
Well, thank goodness something still is geared to men.
Yeah. Although they are changing it. They changed Captain America from a man to a woman. Or not Captain America, Captain Marvel.
Yeah, I remember the old Captain Marvel. I like that guy.
So, but yeah, their perspective is totally invalid. It's not a matter if they brought in more ticket sales or not. They can't bring in the ad revenue, which is where the money is.
Sure.
And that's all I had to say on that.
Well, we appreciate you listening to KIDO Talk Radio.
Okay. Bye.
Bye-bye. You're listening to Kevin Miller, KIDO Talk Radio. And rolling along, thank you for joining us, Kevin Miller in the morning. And look who we have on our newsmaker line, our friend Ron Grant joining us, the original Safer Money specialist. Ron, good morning.
Good morning, Kevin. How are you doing today?
Great to have you with us here in the Treasure Valley. We really enjoyed our lunch recently, and welcome to Idaho. And your thoughts on the Gem State so far, sir?
Oh, I love it so far. It is great. People are just wonderful here. Everyone is welcomed us so nicely, and you have a beautiful area here. I just can't wait to continue living here and enjoy my life.
Well, certainly, and we can't wait to hear what you have to say this Saturday coming up at 2 p.m. Big show right now, calling the Safer Money Solutions show every Saturday at 2. What are your thoughts on that? Here you go. We're going to talk money, and obviously we all need and love and want to have more money, sir.
Well, what we're going to do, Kevin, is we're going to educate people on how to keep that money 100% safe, show them how to get a reasonable range of return, also how to stop paying the fees that they're paying to their financial planner, their stockbroker, their 401k company. Remember, when you pay those fees, that eats up your returns. And most importantly, we're going to show them how to have a guaranteed lifetime income that they can't outlive. And when they've passed away, their beneficiaries will get the balance. So meeting with me one-on-one, give me a call at 208-660-1372, and let me keep your money safe. Let you sleep at night, knowing that you can't lose that principal or the gains.
Well, we can't wait to go over this and to find out some good things. Ron, can you give the number one more time? And by the way, Ron, how do you like that Eagle Road?
It's almost like the 405 freeway in California. It was a little bumper to bumper yesterday, but I know that that's the way it is. But, I go down the 44 a lot, and I love it.
Well, we love having you here. So Saturday, you'll be on 2 p.m. We can't wait to find out all about the money, how to protect your money. And one more time, your phone number if people want to hang out, talk to you. I mean, there's no pressure. You love talking to people, right?
Sure, I do. 208-660-1372.
Ron, anything else you want to share with us, or we'll talk to you later on in the week? Anything else we can do for you, brother?
Just have a wonderful day out there. It's so beautiful here. I can't wait to enjoy it.
Well, we appreciate you joining us. Ron, take care.
All right, you too. Thank you.
All right, our great friend Ron Grant. We love him. Remember, 2 p.m., you can hear Ron, the Safer Money Solutions Show, every Saturday at 2 right here on KIDO Talk Radio. Ron Grant, the original Safer Money specialist. And joining us now, he's a specialist on something. It is pro-life. Pro-life joining us here on KIDO Talk Radio. Now, let me ask you a question.
Yes.
You're a man of faith.
Right.
And you love America.
I do.
What do you make of the comments of our politicians? And you know something? For the people that say, Kevin Miller, you're way too much on the right, let's say on both sides. The president antagonizes people. He hits back. Sometimes he hits first. And then you have the folks in Congress going at it as well. Your thoughts?
Well, all as you can say is that the Democrats have allowed themselves to become possessed by the devil, and you can't describe it any other way because they lie all the time. I've never heard a Speaker of the House say something so ridiculous as the Republicans want to make America white again. That is just the sickest kind of thing. Now, you take their positions. They want to kill babies, unborn babies. They like homosexual marriage, sexual perversion. They promote that. And they're socialists. That's collective theft, so they're thieves. And so they're liars, murderers, and thieves. And
well, I don't think you'll be running for any type of office within the Democratic Party lately. But, let's be bigger for once, you and me. And I'm going to say me too, because I play into this.
Yeah.
I go back to, and you've heard me talk about this, Gabby Douglas. You remember Gabby Douglas?
Yeah, I do. I remember her.
Right. Olympic gold medalist.
Right.
A young, intelligent, beautiful African-American woman who, single mom, was living in Roanoke, Virginia, had this incredibly gifted kid, sent her to Iowa to be trained by a Chinese guy who came to this country to train the gymnasts. And people were very skeptical of her even making the Olympic team. She lived with a white family.
Yeah, I remember that.
And the beauty of America that no one talks about is here you have an immigrant from China. You have an African-American mom and female. You have this white family, and together, and I would have to say, obviously through their hard work and perseverance, but through God, she won the Olympic gold medal hands down. Now, why can't we celebrate those things?
Well, I'll tell you why they don't celebrate that.
But no, just you and me. Let's forget about the devious little libs for a minute. Just you and me.
Yeah, well, between you and me, I'm telling you, I haven't investigated this, but I'll tell you the white family was probably Christian, and the Chinese coach probably left because he didn't like communism.
Well, he probably left because, maybe he's a Christian, but the idea that these stories in America happen every day, right?
Yeah, I know. They do.
We've got to bring them out. We've got to do a better job.
Well,
and maybe you need to quit talking about Chicken Dinner Road.
No, I like Chicken Dinner Road.
Well,
and I'm a vegetarian. I don't eat
You don't
chicken.
even like the bugs. You don't even like to harm the bugs. You let the mosquitoes bite you. Isn't that correct?
No, once in a while I slap a mosquito, but when you're an organic farmer, you don't kill the bugs. You let them share the crops.
You let them feed on you. Pro-life, thank you for listening to KIDO Talk Radio, and we love you.
Well, God bless KIDO.
Well, God bless you.
All right. Catch you later.
All right. Kevin Miller in the morning, KIDO Talk Radio. Phone numbers 580-5436, 580-KIDO. And it's great that President Trump on one moment, fires back and everything, but don't we have to be bigger and better? By the way, this just in from Breitbart, from our friends through the Idaho Second Amendment Alliance. Gunmaker responds to Nike with AR-15 parts bearing the Betsy Ross flag. Don't forget, coming up this Friday, we will be at Independence Indoor Shooting in beautiful Meridian, Idaho, where we invite you to come out, shoot for free, and thanks to the Broadcast Center, free Garth Brooks tickets. Well, you can win a pair. Not every day. Good morning, Dave.